I'd written something a while ago. It was just an imagination. It was as if some other member of the House of Burgesses or some other Virginia legislator or some plantation owner in Virginia had approached Thomas Jefferson and had begun to describe to him what others have characterized as the first lien on real property in America, which presumably occurred in connection with Thomas Jefferson's brother. It was as if to say, "Yes, we read your letter to the Queen. We've read these other things you've written. That's not how we do it here, Tommy. You got to get with the program. You understand there's a way we like to do things. You've got high ideas. You speak very well. But we'll knock you down a peg or two if you keep up this particular way you have. You understand. We agreed this is our property, and you need to understand that's the way it is." I don't think Thomas Jefferson had the same opinion on things like the Three-Fifths Compromise that other people did. It's just this feeling I got. Did Thomas Jefferson actually write this as Secretary of State with the kind of authority that this has, which is substantial, and points out very significant and glaring situations to consider, including part of what I would think would be the challenge or the potential error seeking to be corrected by those that might want to lean on Thomas Jefferson or his brother when he talks of they are not to lay taxes ad libitum for any purpose they please. Some people think very highly of their pleasure. Not only the pleasure itself, but also the access to it. As he says later, perhaps indeed, bank bills may be a more convenient vehicle than treasury orders, but a little difference in the degree of convenience cannot constitute the necessity which the Constitution makes the ground for assuming any non enumerated power. Convenience and pleasure seem to have a very distinct reproach in this particular document, where he also says to consider the latter phrase not as describing the purpose of the first, but as giving a distinct and independent power to do any act they please, which might be for the good of the Union, would render all the preceding and subsequent enumerations of power completely useless. It would reduce the whole instrument to a single phrase, that of instituting a Congress with power to do whatever would be for the good of the United States, and as they would be the sole judges of the good or evil, it would be also a power to do whatever evil they pleased. Those are very strong words. If you change the reference point upon which the authority behind these words is based, it does something to considerations of authority. Did they intentionally alter the authoritative structure of the early founders and framers of the Constitution of the United States for specific purposes that may or may not had to do with their concepts of prioritizing their pleasure and their convenience? And over 200, almost 300 years later, we still haven't seen fit to discuss this. This was written 229 years ago. 229 years ago this was written. When did they change the 12th Amendment to the 10th Amendment?